spirit of the game.
They have experienced many of them in their day. They can tell you with joyous hearts how fun they are to be around.
Who in this group considers him beloved?
Lee's choking. I knew that was the reaction from.
To be fair, he is so beloved to me that I did it. I was going for the pin. I was going to put him on the ground so he'd be at disadvantage, and we could whoop him unceremoniously.
Your boom isn't down. We can't really hear you.
I said, to be fair, he is so beloved to me. I was going for the pin or the sweep so that he could be on the ground so we could unceremoniously unload on him at advantage. That's how much respect and love I have for him.
It's going to get better and better.
I tell you what, I'm not taking another midnight meeting without HK just now.
You keep collaborating with Jew on these.
Yeah.
Are you learning anything?
I think I may have learned my lesson about collaborating with Jew. Not that there's anything wrong with Jew. It's just that when we're together, bad things happen, man.
I need you guys to split off next time as a pair into the video sport. Okay, welcome back, guys. So we'll get back into things here on our little time schedule. So everyone will wake up. You are refreshed, restored after a very shitty night. Coming back from that, being hit by the laughing mask and his little funny goons. Everyone in the bar is also fine. They're definitely rattled. The Fig Sport Tavern will not open because there's destruction all over in the middle of the room and stuff. So you guys now can definitely move a couple tables together or move one table and surround it with a bunch of chairs, whatever. The serving staff are just going to do some cleaning up. The two ladies will cook the meal as Yale just still kind of recovers and rests. So you guys will be able to get a meal, food. Everything is now pretty much on the house for you guys because you just saved their lives from a psychopath. All right. So you guys can now talk about your adventures. You guys are free to move on from there.
Well, how'd your guys' night go?
I did not get him.
Any idea how they knew where we were?
More importantly, how did two of you get downstairs with this attack while the rest of us remained in our bed sleeping?
Looked like Carlisle.
And
No, the laughing mask looked like Claiborne. Carlisle was the one that brought you up.
Whatever.
Apparently, they will let you know they threatened them because they had everyone, the other two downstairs. She had to lure you down, which is why you picked up instantly on her insight.
We didn't realize it was a trap. We thought there was something else going on.
you want a prize and they wanted to give it to you without anybody else knowing in the middle of the night?
Maybe.
I think it's clear from this point in time we assume everything's a trap, at least enough to make sure that we are all aware. Even if it wasn't appropriate enough for all of us to go downstairs, we all could have been better at the ready to defend.
I agree with that.
This is true. Yeah.
We are stronger together. We need to make sure that we stay that way.
You might also want to talk about your day before. Don't forget, you guys were broken in pairs, and no one else saw what you guys else did.
Yeah, what happened with you fellows?
Well, we didn't have any success at the fly trap there.
Yeah, we heard definitely don't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we learned. Don't go there.
And guessing from last night's activity, I'm pretty sure we're compromised. Haven't figured that out.
I mean, when we made the decision to go here, we knew we were walking into a trap. Like before we even stepped foot in the city. This
Do you
is
care
pretty
to
much
elaborate?
where he-
Do you care to elaborate on you went to the fly trap and it didn't go well? Do you have some more details on what happened, or?
Well, we're pretty sure that the Celine, the owner, um, knows anything and everything that's happening in town and there to collect information.
I think we already knew that, didn't we?
The fact that she's with the cult of the Night Garden, the assassins with the cult of the Night Garden, that we were coming. So even though we tried to put on the route someone else, we're pretty much compromised. They played us, let us kind of run our mouths and do our thing. Then HK almost got mugged on the way out.
We made tactical errors. We attempted to gain information, even knowing the strong likelihood of us being compromised. The reality is we probably gave more information than we received. Upon leaving, I was actually attacked by a different gang. That ended badly for them. But one did escape. The other two did not leave the street.
What
Goblin
were
gang.
they?
The Goblin
They were
gang.
goblins? Okay,
Yes.
they were that's important because at the end of before we came back, we were attacked by goblins, and one of them escaped as well.
I don't believe I struck the other one, but I will make sure I leave a wound big enough that we can recognize the next time.
Okay,
So what really happened is we went to the fly trap, and we agreed before we left that they knew who we were. I attempted to engage Zelene in conversation, trying to build a rapport. These other two attempted to try to trick the information mistress by acting like they weren't who they were, and disrupted all the conversation and everything at the bar.
Are you talking about Zelene? They tried to trick her too, or are you talking about somebody else?
No, Zelene. HK
Okay.
pretended to be a thug that was unhappy with his employer, Alaron, and is trying to leave him. And Jew just wanted to be the drunken bar at the drunk at the bar and tried to make conversation with me like he didn't know me. When
Fear not, Alaron. It failed miserably.
Don't
failed.
You don't have to say anything. I get it. You don't have to say anything.
I can't. Obviously, I can't act that way.
No. I can forgive. Never forget.
Celine
I want to see some oil running down from your eyes.
More importantly, after we returned here from the failed attempt at Tavern, we were greeted by several individuals. One elf that Alexei spoke with, we thought might be assassin guys. Bard with several other guards or thugs came. Bard was able to put us under his spell and gave us a warning to tread lightly. If we stomp around too much, make too much noise, we're going to get into trouble, which we did. The bard apparently came from the tavern back in Wood. Warm cloak.
So there was an elf, and then there was a bard. Was the bard an elf as well, or was it human? Yeah. It was an elf as well.
The bard was talented elf.
Did you get names and did you end up finding out names for either of them?
Bard's name was Songbird, with the Brotherhood of the Last works. I'll say they work out of the Warm Cloak, but she was from the Warm.
Which is a half elf bard with the Brotherhood of the Last Embrace.
Yes, that's what her.
K-pop.
The elven woman, her name was Lily. I wasn't able to talk to her for too long because the bard Songbird interrupted and sent her away. But I did get the knowledge that she is from across the river. She doesn't come to this side of the river often. I suspect she was a spy for one of the other guilds that was looking
Elven?
for information about us.
That was the Elven one?
Yes, her name is Lily.
Yeah, Tiger Lily.
Yeah, Tiger. I was gonna say
you
Tiger
guys are
Lily.
lucky. You guys are lucky you lived. She's a lieutenant with the Cult of the Night Garden.
Yeah, that's a lieutenant in Night Garden.
Yeah.
Lotus is a human.
She's their heavy hitter.
Also.
Yeah, that's why I was asking what the bard was, because we weren't given any further information other than human and lieutenant and name. So I didn't know if maybe it was a bard. No, Lily was the elf. The bard was Songbird.
To be clear, Songbird was actually someone who was helping us. We didn't realize it at the time. Songbird basically, and the people she came with, created enough of a commotion, and with her song, caused the elf, the half elf woman, to leave. She then bewitched Jew and myself, and eventually let us free and told us of our various dangers and not to trust that other woman.
Okay, so Songbird helped you guys.
Correct.
To correct HK, Songbird is the half elf woman. Lily was a full elf.
Full elf, yeah. Yeah, Tiger Lily is a full elf. She's a lieutenant in the Cult of the Night Garden. Heavy hitter for him. Not to be. If she comes out, it's serious.
Songbird.
We learned of Tiger Lily as one lieutenant, and there's another lieutenant we learned of who's a human called Lotus. So we learned of 2 lieutenants, and you guys encountered one of them.
We also learned the mayor is linked to Night Garden, the guy Walby Shaw.
But he is outranked by the lieutenant.
I don't make up the names.
But he has that name.
All right. You haven't heard the beginning of it, so
wait till we get to Smug.
Yeah, or the owner of the Alley Cat.
Who did you guys talk to?
We talked to a lot of people. So first we started out. We went to the Purple Octopus, which is the bar that's associated with Benson Jelly and the Jolly Jelly Gang.
A very flamboyant, nice half-orc was there.
Yep, Captain Casanova Frankenmeist is the captain of the Black Void. He was actually very interested in the persona that Spoke took while we were there of a female halfling. So that would have been a strange pairing.
I think he's just calling me cute. I don't know if he was really that interested.
No, he was going to do it.
Okay.
So we met him there, learned a little bit about the area. We learned about Captain, the shadiest of captains, that goes by the name of the Black Eel, who's the captain of the Shadowfall. His real name is Zakasaraya Montanamiri, and he's a drow.
Wow.
He's a drow.
Indeed.
So, to interject a little bit here, obviously we got quite a bit of information.
We have more, so.
I didn't realize it was fiction.
No, I'm telling you that there's more to come. If you want to summarize it now, or you wait till we get to the rest.
I'll continue then.
Okay, I mean, if you have questions or about what we just said, ask them now. But
not necessarily
there's more to come.
Not necessarily a question about what you just said. Perhaps the information you have left over will. The thought that's coming to my head is obviously they know we're here. The number one enemy, which appears to be the Cult of the Night, knows we're here, knows exactly where we're at,
Yep.
and has advantage. But that being said, with what just happened with the laughing mass showing up with a couple of them, I don't know if any of the information with any grain of salt anymore. Is there a ritual to be stopped, or was that a bunch of BS just to get us to the port? Play with us some more and attempt to kill us type of deal. So, what's the pivot at this point?
I think
Try to take this place down from the top, or
I think it's important to add here that you have to remember the hag that you all encountered corroborated the existence of a ritual. So whether we can trust details from him or not is questionable.
Oh, she didn't. There was no mention from her of anything about Fangsport.
I thought there was.
she mentioned Fangsport, and she mentioned that people from the north and Lich were working their way down and had taken hold in Fangsport. I don't recall her. That was part of our initial goal of coming to port at some point, was to how bad it was getting. Ritual came about after death of the. Feel free to anybody can correct me. I don't know if the ritual information is something that hold up as factual, or if we focus on part, or do we just focus on this port is run by the cult of the Night Garden? Want to try to give it back to the Lich from forward. How do we?
I am interested in the rest of your information, and perhaps it'll shed light on how closely we can ally with this jelly person and his people.
Well, I'll tell you everything else that we found, and maybe something will connect with something you guys learned, much like how we knew that Lily is a lieutenant in the Cult of the Night Garden that you guys didn't know. So, maybe something that we found out will connect with what you guys found out. I can list off the ships that are in the port. We walked around the port, got a list of the ships. I'll just list them off rapid fire.
It's just, I think it's fairly irrelevant to say all the ships. Like
but you never know if they might have heard about one ship.
That's fair.
It's if you see a skeleton cat in the attic of a house by a portal, you let everybody know. So we already knew that. I guess the plain ones with no guards probably aren't going to be irrelevant. But we had the Shadowfall, which is the
drow ship,
the black eel ship. They don't even have guards on it, but I figure that everybody knows not to F with that ship. The Dancing Skipper had no guards, very plain. The Mermaid Song, the Black Void, which was Casanova's ship, the Wind Free, which was another plain one with no guards, the Cut and Kiss, the Kraken's Desire, and then Benson Jelly's ship, his own personal ship, is called the Majestic. We tried to get on it. We did not get on it to get an audience with him. The price was too high. I would have had to let Spoke go and be a lady of the night. Changeling. We later learned that if you want an audience with him, you have to have. He's very flamboyant, and he needs something that's that's going to match that flamboyancy. He needs something that's going to be, outstanding to even get an audience with him. So we left it at that because that wasn't something I was comfortable with. So then we went to the Hobbs Legion area. The Hobgoblin and Goblin gang went to the Alley Cat, which is the tavern that they have down there. And we spoke with the owner of the tavern, Pussy Heart Finian. That's right. That was the name. And she
Can you
said,
say that name again?
Pussy Harp Finian. And she said, definitely don't go to Aphrodite's Flytrap. And we went, oh shit. We might know somebody who's gone. She talked to us about the Cult of the Night Guard, and she was telling us how their power base reaches all the way back to the dynasties in charge of the Spiro Islands. So, kind of lending to the power of the group. She told us about Tiger Lily and Lotus. That's where we found out about that. And the mayor, Wallaby Shaw. Very rough cut place, the Alley Cat. She told us about if we needed to get out of the city and kind of disappear if things got too hot, that we could use a guy named Ollie Smug Franklin. We could find him at a farmhouse outside of town, and he could arrange for us to disappear if need be. She told me about, I had a little bit of question. She told me about a druid that has some involvement with access to the Feywood, Crazy Granny Apple, which I'm interested in trying to find if I can, because I have some questions about some blank spots in my past that involve the Feywood, and I'd like to, if we have time, if it's not an issue with anybody, I'd like to try to speak with her and find out if she can help me with that and find out anything about that. We learned that she said the Cult of the Night Guard is more concentrated on the side of the island we are now. We keep traveling to the other side of the island, thinking that we're getting closer to them. But in reality, their power base is more centered here, where we are now. So that's pretty much everything that we learned on our excursion. And then, as I said before, when HK was talking about the attack you guys had, that when we left the Alley Cat and we're heading back here, we were attacked in the crowd on the street by some goblins, and one of them was able to escape. And that's all I got to say about that.
That's all. That's everything I have here too. I don't have anything different.
To follow up with the information that we were providing, Songbird indicated, as Ju said, that she is from the Warm Cloak in Greenwood. Apparently, they are working to keep whatever's happening here in Fangsport from spilling over to Greenwood. So that's why they're aware of our activities so far and why they intervened and stepped in to let us know. She did say that they don't really have any power here in the city, but if we get out of the city, they are watching and they may be able to give some help once we get outside the city.
I knew I left the sheriff in charge for a reason. He's doing a good job. Deputy mayor.
All right, so I guess that's just what's our next move then. We could try to interrogate Benson Jelly for real. Like, I could do a changey, and with like the backup of everyone else, like we could try to see what he knows for real.
I mean, we could do that. The most straight to the point, dangerous plan is to go and try to talk to the Black Eagle, the drow ship captain.
Just
that's
hop on the shadow fall and see what happens.
That's the cut to the quick. We didn't even want to try to go on a ship with just us.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Be foolish. We were told to keep your back to the wall and watch what you say. He's a dangerous fellow. We don't, that's
but like. That being said, like maybe a bold move is our best move. Like, they know what we're doing. They know we're poking around. I mean,
and honestly, we're kind of spinning our wheels here. We don't really know what we're doing or what to do. we're just kind of going, yeah, what are we actually doing here? What are we supposed to be doing?
Is the consensus that the drow and this person are likely to be doing something that we need to be concerned with and stop? Even if it's not the main thing that we're looking at, is it likely that they're doing something that we should be interested in stopping?
They are drow.
It is. I guess it's technically racial profiling, but yeah.
Probably not the best culturally time for this, but yeah. I mean, it's kind of all we have to go on, really. We're kind of spinning our wheels. Nobody knows what all we're doing is saying, what are we doing?
We could try.
What are we actually trying to do?
I think if we don't want to jump right into the Shadowfall and just try and see what happens when we head there, like we could try interrogating Benson Jelly. He probably or most likely knows more than we've been able to get out of his underlings anyways. Or we could try talking to the mayor. I mean, he's kind of a puppet, but we could try interrogating him. That would probably be more of a real interrogation rather than a talk, though.
That might be more dangerous than going to the Black Eel, because then we're definitely taking on the Cult of the Night Guard immediately.
Yeah.
Because other than the lieutenants, he's the highest ranking member we know. He's kind of a joke, but he's still a member.
I'm going to walk back to the table.
Lee, your boom is up.
Thank you. I'm going to walk back to the table and sit down for a moment, interrupting the cleaning and the helping I was giving. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say in a slightly lower voice, whatever we do, we also now need to understand we have placed these people here in danger.
Yep.
The statement that perhaps the bold move is the best move is probably accurate, because us rooting around and trying to figure things out leaves us open every night or every in all these other opportunities for harm to come to them versus us.
Well, on that same note, Yale revealed that he knows a lot of what's going on. Maybe it's time, if he was holding anything back, now's the time to put all the cards on the table.
I think we need to catch up with him, rouse him from his rest, and ask that very question. I think we need to confirm, and not as an interrogation, but more as a question. We need.
They came into his house now. It's cards on the table time. If there's anything you're holding back, it's time to let it be known. And
sheet of paper.
The other thing we need to consider is he willing for him and his staff to get that assistance while we deal with this issue? Like out of town, get help, get hidden while we deal with this issue, so they're not in harm's way.
Yeah, he knows what's going on now. If he wants to get out of town, now's the time.
You have the paper. I'm sorry, Smoke. You have the paper.
And I mean, we have people, like, if he wants backup, we have a contact for backup. If he wants to get out of town, we have a contact for getting out of town. We could help him either way.
Right. Then what we need to do is give him the options. We need to ask for his help and any information that he may have, and then we need to give him and his staff individually the options.
I want to ask him if he knows where I can find Crazy Granny Apple, because I do have questions for her that are personally somewhat urgent.
All right.
Okay. Pepper goes, I don't know, but it's a very weird piece of paper that was behind the bar.
What piece of paper?
She gave Smoke.
Spoke. What piece of paper?
Okay. As you now look at it, I was saying that. As you look at it, it's a lot of the questions and apparently other questions and stuff that he was supposed to say to you.
Yeah, it was all scripted. That's why he was looking down. It was all scripted.
All right. So what's on the paper then?
Yeah, he was reading the questions off of the paper.
What are the?
Ben, your mic keeps cutting out.
Mostly there were questions like you need to get out of town. The one to get out of town. You need to eat. There was a lot of things about make eat for the food. And then there were other questions more like how much more you found out about the Night Garden. What's your next move? He didn't get to the next move and stuff like that. There was a lot of those. There were questions kind of related to things like that. There's a little bit of free base part of it. A lot of it was just get you talking for a little while, and then the Laughing Mask is going to either a poison.
Yeah, I mean the whole eating thing. I don't know if that was just fetish he's got, or if he poisoned the.
No, it was poison.
The line of
No, he stabbed me
questions.
to get poisoned, and I was poisoned.
The line of question leads to me to believe that they haven't been great at following us to know exactly what we know.
Yeah.
So they know we're poking around and we've been a couple of places. They don't know what information.
They don't know if their plan is washed yet. They're trying to determine whether they need to scrap their plan and do something different or do it elsewhere, or whether they can proceed.
Spoke, give me a insight check, please.
Nice. 22.
Okay. Just as a gut feeling in operating business, and because this guy is really taking a liking to you, you have a feeling that something is a little off when you got to balance your knowledge of what you're doing with the Laughing Mask. Because one, they sent Tiger Lily in here, and she didn't fight anybody, and she came alone. So that means that they were probably looking to continue to gather intel on you. The Laughing Mask completely hit you. He said he wanted to make it personal. So he might have used some information that they have, but you have a feeling that he's not really operating on their level.
Yeah, he is kind of the madman. It didn't really seem like he's like high, or if he's as involved, or he may not be with the Night Garden. Like, he's definitely not like a high-ranking member or something. He's just running around telling about plans and telling us to go like muddle in their plans. Like, he's not like helping them really.
Yeah, but he's showed up with 3 other thugs. Then he's got some sort of pull, and if he's stepping on toes, that information is going to get back because one of them got away.
He could just be a He could just be a hired gun. Not even on this one. He could have been hired for something else by them. And that's how he doesn't have to be a member per se. He could just be.
Pretty sure he's a member. He's just like using, like, you got to remember, like, kind of like what you guys have. The Night Garden could more or less be a resource to him than an actual following. I think you guys are taking a lawful evil type of thing. You're pretty sure he's like chaotic neutral. Like, he's fucking messed up. And that has a way different base of loyalty. You'll use anybody you want around you.
Well,
it's a perk. It doesn't necessarily mean he's following an order of an evil organization. Especially
if he's going around just stabbing people and shit, he's probably not chaotic neutral. If he's just walking around stabbing all kinds of people and poisoning them.
So,
taking delight in people being poisoned and stabbed. It's not really. That's leaning more evil.
If he was doing it randomly, obviously the job of the mayor was probably ran into Spoke and basically stalking Spoke because they're both changelings. Don't know. I would assume at this point that his hit on Alexei was just to get Spoke's attention. Hit tonight on Spoke itself was, well, combat. Obviously, down here, Spoke made the. It's quite possible could have let the whole scenario play out, and we just shoot our guts on everything we know, and then he would walk out and knows what with that information.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say if he was going to put a hit on any of us tonight. Sorry. I'm just confused on this whole situation of all this information and what our end goal.
I mean, trying to stop this ritual from this cult running the city, and it's hard to find leads. I mean, we only really have the one is the friggin' ship.
Yeah, we're doing quite a bit.
Unless we want to go
flying
straight for lieutenants or something, but clearly going after Tiger Lily isn't going to be fun.
No, based on us barely being able to survive the Laughing Mask with him running away, we can't just take on the Cult of the Night Garden by ourselves. As we are right now, we're just going to get shit handed to us.
Let's be clear. We had trouble with that particular attack because they had tactical advantage in the situation. They separated us, began the combat with hostages and with our members in various states of disarray and apart. They did not take us on as a whole, similar to when the Laughing Mask struck Alexei. He is exceptionally good at the right tactics to beat us, which is why when Spoke says perhaps direct is our best tactic, I tend to agree. They are attacking us when we are rested or when we're not rested. They're attacking us when they have the ability to have hostages, when they are in places where we are at disadvantage. If we take that tactical turn, even if they're well defended, even if it's on their in their strongholds, on their boat or what have you, they won't have hostages. We will be together. We will be able to move as a unit. There's some merit to that. I think the key is not letting them. There are some enemies you want to defend against and bring to you. There are other enemies you want to be the aggressor. In this situation, I think being the defender has failed us. It's time to start being the aggressor.
The question is then, the aggressor against whom?
In the absence of another
the
target,
$1 million question.
In the absence of any other option, I suggest the drow ship.
Okay, so the Shadowfall. All right, so then we're gonna take it to the Shadowfall. Find out what this drow knows.
Now, the Shadowfall has no affiliation with this jelly. It just happens to be docked in his area, correct?
The Jelly gang and Benson Jelly, their leader, run the docks. They run the docks, the pirates. He's kind of his own thing, though, from what we've learned. Nobody F's with him because he's he's a badass drow.
Nice, Rico. Thank you for making me more of a specter.
I am.
Did you guys come across any information regarding Ripper?
No. We didn't hear anything about that. We also don't have anything on Frog and Slate, I don't think.
No, we did not. We only did the Haas Legion and Jolly Jelly Gang. So we haven't investigated at all Frog and Slate and Court of the Fang.
I might also add, you never met any of the leaders. So
any what?
Leaders. You didn't really speak to let them know You didn't speak with Benson Jelly. You didn't speak with Hobbs either. You just ran into parts of where you just ran into their areas.
Well, I said we didn't investigate. We've gone into the areas of the other ones, talked to people adjacent to them in the taverns they frequent and people that are there, like Casanova, who is a pirate in the area, like the owner of the Alley Cat. So we've been in the areas for those. We have not touched at all Frog and Slate and Court of the Fang.
Why don't you, Spoke and Alarian, give me an insight check.
18.
12.
Spoke, you have a feeling that Casanova probably is considered in the ranks of Benson Jelly, would probably be in that lieutenant role. I mean, in all truth, he's a captain. So his crew is a formation of a gang component to Benson Jelly. That puts him probably one of the higher leadership persons that you spoke of, besides Alesky having a sit-down conversation with Lily. So those are the two highest-ranking people you actually met in the city and actually had a sit-down conversation with. That was probably in some balance, besides Zelene as well. I mean, Zelene is not a lieutenant. She's a little bit lower than that scale. So Tiger Lily and Casanova are very high-ranking people of the city. That the only people that you've run into.
So we could theoretically go back and maybe get him to get us an audience with Benson.
Theoretically, yes.
Because Benson, we couldn't get by without getting weird. Doing some morally questionable things. We couldn't get by his guys on the gangplank to get up to the ship, but we might be able to go back to the Purple Octopus, see if Casanova is there, and elicit him, since we've already built somewhat of our rapport with him. Use him to see if he can get us an audience with Benson and find out some more. That's an avenue. You'll have to take back on your female halfling merchant persona.
Yeah.
Hopefully you wrote down the name that you used.
Hopefully I did. Ooh. I'm pretty sure I did, actually.
I did.
When we're in their company,
Myra.
I am no. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. When
we don't want you pulling an H.
if we go back there,
I've gotten pretty far through this night without them knowing that.
if we go back there, I go by Ebenezer McCoy.
You will have to teach me better skills, Spoke. I didn't remember my identity the next day.
You'll get it straight. It's hard for newcomers to this gang.
I let you down.
You never let me.
So we can go back to. We could go back to the Purple Octopus. See if Casanova's still around.
What's our angle to get him to agree to let us see Benson, though?
Well, we played up the new merchants and coming from, the more land based and wanting to move into the city and explore, shipping lanes. So Benson is the leader. Say we're stalled out. He liked you. You could play up the fact that he was into you. And use that, tell him that we're stalling out. We need to talk to Benson. You need to get his support. However we can do that to be able to move into expanding the business.
All right, and then we're just gonna essentially get to Benson and then start.
We could all
rolling him on Night Garden.
One of our options would be actually two. We have two options. One, I would say, if we're dealing with him and we needed a way to entice him, you could bring Jew and myself as muscle, and we could select a job or a mission for him in payment for the information we seek. The other option would be we can communicate with Songbird. Alexi can probably help us with that, and then we can try to find out our best avenue of approach from there. Alaska, your thoughts?
I don't know.
What?
I'm more than happy to speak with Songbird if that's what you want me to do.
And
Well-
we could probably do that before we approach Jelly again or his people again, just to hedge our bets, and use that as a backup if we come up with nothing through Songbird.
Okay.
Has she maybe heard anything of, who a good person for us to talk to, a good gang for us to approach would be?
We
I mean-
kind of asked, but I think we were too busy being admonished for our failures at this spy game, and deservedly so. However, here we are a day later, a battle later, and in need of a direction so we can work on Greenwood's behalf. Speaking to her sounds like a safe bet. At least we don't have a threat with her. And if there is a threat, we would be helping her deal with said threat.
Yeah, I'm all for anything we can do that is going to give us some direction. So
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a safe bet. Let's do the Songbird.
We didn't
seek out-
really even have any direction when we decided to come to this city. I mean, with that statement, we should sit down and actually formulate an actual real goal.
okay, all right. While we are here, we still haven't gone to Yale and made sure that he's told us everything. Before we start going to other people, let's take care of what we have in front of us.
Well, let's handle the business here, and
Yeah.
we'll speak with Yale first.
No, we're before we get too far ahead of ourselves.
All right, you got Yale at the bar. He's resting, having a beer. He is a pain. What can I do for you?
Well, you're obviously in the thick of it now.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
attack. Yeah.
I thought it was crazy. He just scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. So I think it's cards on the table time. If there's anything, I'm sure you were apprehensive of us when we came here, and you approached us saying, hey, this is the deal. You might have held some stuff back, not being really sure of us. But I think after last night, it's kind of cards on the table time. We're all in this now. If you have anything else you think that you should tell us, then now's the time.
I know. I heard about Smug. I've heard his name plenty times before, and I think I can get contact with him if we need to get out. The other thing is I know of a fighter for hire, but his loyalty is to the coin, so he can be bought off. He's not completely with the Night Guard. His name is Bishop Dean. He's a human fighter. He roves around the town all over the place. Completely loyal to the coin. That I do know.
What was his name? Bishop?
Bishop Dean. Another one who's more or less for the good time and getting the scrap, but I heard his loyalty never changed, gone to any one of the gangs, is a half-orc. They just noticed the thing. He's a real bruiser. And I have seen Granny Apple here before. She has stayed at my place twice in the last 4 years. But other than that, I don't know anybody else. I think I've heard of Songbird, but I don't remember seeing her.
Granny Apple has stayed here a few times.
Yes.
So she doesn't have any place in the city that she, like a shop or anything that she frequents, or that she is like where she is usually located.
I know she's a druid, so she may go to check the place. Notes.
The Druid Circle, maybe?
Yes, she might go there. And it's on that side of the town, the side of the city anyways. but I have not personally seen her there. And she's crazy too, but she's not crazy like that guy that was in the tavern last night.
Yeah, few are.
There's crazy, and then there's
Granny's
crazy.
human. Granny is also human. I do, because he's seen her, so he knows that.
All right. So Bishop Dean and the Thing are a couple
Muscle.
muscle that you know are for hire in the area that could help a group out if they needed it for the right price. You know where they're usually found in the city? I mean, it's still kind of a large city.
Both of them come by every once in a while. I believe the Thing goes over to the Bordello of Arts. Bishop really, he's kind of all over the place. He definitely wants to make sure he's available to everybody. But Thing really likes his women.
The Bordello of Hearts, the Court of the Fangs, Bordello. All right.
Well, we have to ask you a serious question. It was never our intention to put you and your staff in harm's way. If we pursue this to take it to an end, the goal would be to end that threat and thus any imminent danger to you for having helped us. But the reality is, we can't necessarily be sure that would happen.
I knew when I gave you all that info the first time I was at risk. This tavern's all I have. So one way or another, I was already in danger. I have been pressed before. You guys give me a little bit of a bolster. I know when you leave, it'll be risky, but if you can find a good guy who can stick around here as a good sword that would be loyal. I mean, I heard you're the mayor over Greenwood. That anything that kind of puts a staple here helps. I mean, I did hear the Songbird talk about the embrace, and I do know there are some other people here in the city. I don't know exactly where, but you know.
What's the embrace?
Brotherhood of
the
Brotherhood of the Embrace of the last.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, the last embrace. Okay.
So,
they're the organization that apparently works out of
Yeah.
the Warm
Yeah.
Boat.
so I know they're not big, so maybe I have to compromise, but I'm willing to still go forward. I'll keep housing you until I'm already in this bed. I'm not ready. I can't leave. This is it. This is it for me and the girls.
If that's the case, then we will see what we can do to get extra protection for you. I strongly recommend, at least while this situation is at a peak, that you and the girls stay in one room and we'll provide guard. I think we have the ability to seek some kind of help for you in that regard.
Pepper goes, I don't know what much use I am. I mean, I did kill a few goblins. I can stay and guard if you want until you guys are ready to leave.
I think that would be very helpful.
So we have a couple
Um,
more things to do now.
So I guess kind of talking back to the rest of our party, HK will say, you mentioned the fact that we have the ability to get some backup and some help.
Yeah. We
I'm
have
thinking,
to find Bishop Dean and the Thing.
Okay, so let's find them as a priority, get them to back us up here. Pepper in charge. They basically would be to help defend these good people. And then we need to get them, and then from there we need to be in contact with Songbird, make sure that she's aware of these individuals, so that the help that she offered us on the outskirts of the city, if they need to flee, they have a place to flee to.
Or if a couple of the members could come into the city and
Stay here.
Post up here.
And I look back at Yale. I will certainly cover their stay. That is not in doubt or in question.
Sure.
The Druids Circle shop is not far from here, right? It's on this side.
Correct.
Okay, so I want to go there and see if I can find Granny Apple. Whether we split up finding Bishop Dean and I go try to find Granny Apple, I'm gonna go. The thing, we might want to bring some numbers that's at the Bordello of Hearts, the Port of the Fangs establishment. I would suggest we only go there during the day.
It's closed during the day.
Of course.
Why don't we? If you think it's a quick mission, then we can definitely. I will definitely go, and if anybody wishes to join, we can go to your Druid Circle.
Yes.
As far as seeking the other one, if you go with Spoke and Oleski, then perhaps the three of you would be able to at least locate one of the two people we need to back us up here.
Yeah.
Really want to be splitting up after everything.
I have to go. I have questions that are older than perhaps a number of you that I need answered.
My thought is, if we split up during the day, we are less likely to have a problem, but we should absolutely not do so at night. So a jaunt a couple blocks away or several blocks away to a store while the other three of you ask about should not be that big of a problem.
And the other place we have to go, the Bordello of Hearts, is not open during the day anyway, so we can't go.
Yeah. So if we can get one of these backups taken care of and secured, we can get Aileron's questions answered. It's a course of action. Pepper's here to defend during the day when there's the least likely to be a problem anyway. We can move things forward.
How far from you can your familiar be, Alexi?
I can communicate with my familiar anywhere on this plane of existence.
So your familiar could go to Songbird and do the communication with her while our whole party is here.
Can a familiar be armed? Because our last talk with Songbird was pretty much a one-way conversation, had us all under spell.
Actually, I was thinking the best way to link our groups would be as simple as Alexi go with Jew and Spoke. Alexi, you could send your familiar with us. You can communicate to the familiar if you're in trouble. We can communicate to you through the familiar if we're in trouble. It becomes the perfect conduit in a situation where we have to split.
Unless he has to stop and concentrate to see and hear through his familiar. It's not. He doesn't have two senses going on at once.
Right.
It's still better than nothing.
Yeah.
I realize.
Yeah, we could set up regular intervals, or can the familiar alert Oleski to please look or please see what's going on?
Unless he's moving through his mind.
No, we are telepathically linked, and we can communicate with each other over distance.
How long as you're concentrating on it?
I need to concentrate to see through its senses and interact through its senses. But to communicate with it, I do not need to concentrate. We're telepathically communicating.
So that seems like a good way for two groups to be in two different places and stay in communication.
Oh, Ben's getting his book out.
I just want to keep checking.
Yeah.
I keep coughing.
Well, I think we're kind of decided on.
Yeah, I mean,
we're
basically,
doing.
if we can use the familiar as our go-between, then I think splitting up makes a lot more sense. Like it was questionable with it. It may have been necessary, but it was questionable without it. But if we can do that, I think it makes absolute perfect sense.
I mean, unless everybody's willing to take the time and come with me, and then we could all go find Bishop, and then we could all go to the Bordello of Hearts.
Well, finding these cell swords still brings us back to a point that I've been making, at least for myself, and I assume most of us will need it at some point. We're going to run out of funds very quickly. We need to find some manner of work to replenish our dwindling resources.
Yeah, I mean, should we go over our resources now and see what we have as a collective? In order to hire these guys?
I got a fair amount of gold off the bodies or the body of the thug there. I'm pushing like 100 gold, so it's not nothing.
I'm an elected official. I have a few points that rub together. A little jangle in my pocket.
Government funding.
I do. You know, a mayor can't live on nothing.
I have 60 gold and 30 silver left.
All right, let's lay it on the table. Who wants to start adding it up? We'll just go around the table, add up what we have, so we know. If we're going to start hiring people, we got to know what we can pay, or we're going to get into a situation where we say, "Thanks for everything, but we can't pay you," and then we have one more enemy.
Offer them shares of loot. If they're simply staying back while we go forward on a mission, the key element is they each would get a half share plus a base rate. The base rate can be as simple as 50 gold for the two of you and half share of the spoils.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the going rate for mercenary work in the city is.
I had any spoils yet?
Well, that's my 2 silver is seeing what we have, and because we're gonna have to pay these guys.
I'll add 15 gold to the pot.
Ben, I sent you a question.
Okay. Yep.
Lose the swearing in front. I think I put that in the wrong window.
Okay. Give me a history check advantage.
How much did you have spoke?
I have 90. I have us at 165 gold so far.
Wait, how did you get that?
You have 60.
No,
I had 60.
Oh, you had 60. Okay. So we have 15 from Jew, 90 from Spoke, 60 from HK, 122 from myself.
My total available is 21 gold. I'd like to keep 1 gold on hand, so I'll put 20 into the pot.
Yeah, I mean, we should probably all keep a little bit.
I've got 30 silver on me, so if I just put in the gold, I'll just keep the silver.
Yeah, I have 51 silver, but I mean...
So around 280.
I really like the idea of enticing them with spoils. We are going after enemy threats. So
no doubt. We want to do that, but we need to know what we have in pocket just in case. We want to know that, not go, oh shit, have somebody say, commit to a certain price that we can't back.
Right.
We don't need more enemies. We have plenty.
So if we were back east, it would be very much skill dependent. If they're seasoned warriors, they would fetch a price for what we're asking, somewhere around 25 gold a week. If we're talking about simple caravan guarding, it'd probably be about 5 a week per man. Right now, it could be higher here, depending on their level of skill, just because of inherent danger, and we want to be honest about the inherent danger, not necessarily the who, but certainly the fact that there's danger. But I would think we're probably pushing somewhere closer to 20 a week. So if they get a half share of whatever the spoils are plus 20 a week to basically stay here at a tavern and guard and protect these people, I think that would be fair to start with. We might even want to start with 15 if they're not seasoned warriors, and then work our way up because to give us room to negotiate.
All
You're
right.
muted, Jacob.
From what Yale said, they certainly sound like seasoned warriors, but we can certainly start obviously at the lower end and work our way up.
They're not going into the thick of the fight. There is some dangers. Clearly, this is they're better than caravan guards, but they're basically guarding the hearth. They're not guarding the four. So, starting at 15, unless they prove themselves or we qualify their equipment or their stature as being significantly better upon meeting, I think it's a good place to start. And we clearly have enough to pay them that weekly wage.
Okay, so we have people that we could possibly get from the Last Embrace as well. The Brotherhood of the Last Embrace.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do we maybe think about bringing any of these people with us to supplement our numbers?
Here is something absolutely 100% positively crazy. I would bet there are dissatisfied people in this city who are not happy with any of the current gangs that hold sway. Mr. Yale, what do you think about the idea of your establishment becoming a place that allows the frequency of people interested in creating their own organization separate from the current ones in power?
So you want to start a new gang?
I've always kept it pretty open. Some people who have come have done that. They have disappeared in one form or another.
But perhaps a branch of the Warm Cloak might help establish a more solid group.
If that guild is decent from what I said, since they're apparently from your other town, I'm willing to compromise. I would rather be independent, but I will compromise for the protection, seeing as we have what we've just encountered last night.
I think it's worthwhile, and it would give us some safety. It would give them some protection, and it would give us the ability to have skilled ears. And have skilled ears listening and paying attention to what's going on here in the city. It may give us a better opportunity to have information down the road as well.
Even better with what a legacy that happened, and we might not have to pay anybody. Fighting a safe help with it, and I don't look at it probably starting a new gang. Or back.
I think we need to pay some folks to protect because we're in a heated situation, and we're on a knife's edge here, and we need to protect these people.
Initially.
So Initially,
yes, but
but going forward, having other people who have a vested interest in staying here, that this is a place where they feel comfortable, where they come and have rooms, or one or two of them may have a permanent room or something like that, would be something that we're looking for. So we're looking for
This
people
becomes-
willing to relocate.
this becomes our version of the Aphrodite's flytrap. Central gathering.
Correct. That said, let us split up while we still have the light on our side, get to our respective locations and find out what we can do.
And break. We have let's put our hands together, go team.
Oh, team!
Yeah.
I think this is probably the most decent plan we've had. I like the idea of Lexi have to split, have a bond. We at least have a chance to bond and react. All been separated.
Yep. So, Alaron, I guess you and I can head, and then the others can go where they're going to go, and Ben, you can just let us know who you're going to take on first.
So John is going with you two?
No, Alaron and I are NHK. We're going to go to the Druid Circle, and John, Jew, and Oleski are going to go looking for
Bishop Bean.
Bishop Bean.
Where is John, the familiar? Where is he going?
The familiar is going with Alarian and HK.
Okay.
He thought you said John, as in the actual person.
Oh, sorry.
And Pepper right now will have stay behind and guard the tavern and your other service.
Sure.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. So you two head out. You guys are going to go. Where are you guys going to go look for people?
HK and I are going to the Druid Circle.
So
I just got to know where they're going. The other three.
Oh, I'll leave that up to Bo. He knows more about the gathered and Bishop Bean.
I mean, I just know he's muscle for hire, really. But I mean,
Y'all have any on where he is located?
He's a popular name amongst the city that is not officiated. Like I said, he goes around every single one so he can make his coin.
Around what? Hundreds of city?
Yep. The only one
to track down.
He knows where Thing is, which will be later tonight, probably at the Bordello of Hearts, if he's in the city.
Yeah. I think we already decided we're saving that one.
Yeah.
Bishop goes around to just about every tavern so he can say, hey, give me money. You got to pay me to do something, whatever. But of course, it's a risk because he's a sellsword.
Well, I think we'll have to rack our brains on where to start looking for this guy. If he's just a wanderer, approach and try to shake.
Let's see here. Yeah, go back to my notes.
Hey, Matt.
Well, hold on. The Frog and Slate, we know, runs fighting pits. This is the kind of guy that would be trying to make some coin in a fighting pit?
Yeah, Jew has a job already
Yeah.
lined up to do that and die.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take that job, Alexei. It sounded like they were trying to just become the next
Alright.
ultimate
So
fighter, not bite.
I'm guessing
pass
that
on
was
that job.
part. I'm guessing that was part of your guys' adventure that Spoke and I were not privy to.
Well, no,
That you're alluding to.
I was
Um,
offered. One of the waitresses offered work. Work ended up being working for someone as a fighter. He obviously fighter was Roggins. But the waitress works for the Cult of the Night. My guess is they would probably set a trap and willingly.
Okay.
But I don't think
Are you,
anybody on that end knows who I am. Putting on the frog and slate how much information has to.
Yeah.
HK and Alert, are you leaving now or no? You're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna leave. We're gonna leave now and head right to the Druid Circle while it's daylight, so we can.
Okay. You two are going. Just the two of you. You two can communicate.
Okay.
Where are the three of you going to go? You're still at the Finksport Tavern? Where do you want to go? Spoke, I guess Jew was saying you're the guy who would know.
I mean, if he wanders about the city, I have no idea where I'd start looking for the guy.
You'd assume at one of the many taverns, if you're looking for Bishop. I told you where you'd find Thing, but that's later tonight. He may be. You don't know anything else about it, the other guy. If you're looking for Bishop, he's probably at one of the other taverns, but nobody knows his routine. So you are throwing a pin at one of the taverns that you know about, which could be he could be at the fly trap for one of the chances that he's there. Just to let you know.
Okay.
He's a self.
Then let's go to Purple Octopus first. Screw it. That one seems like the closest on the other side, and then we can go on to the.
Spoke, did you by chance get a
trap.
good look? Get a good look at the thugs that attacked? Good enough look that you could on one of them.
Yeah, I'd
That in mind.
say so. Wasn't like
Keep that
arcade
in
room or
mind,
anything, Benny. I don't think.
If the laughing mask is kind of a loose chance that what happened to that word might not get around too fast. So as a last resort, you could pop on one.
I probably could pop on the one who died. Yeah. Probably could pop on the persona of the one who died. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Just something to keep.
Are you going out as Spoke or are you going out as Mira?
I'm not going to go as Mira. I'm not there to attract the orc's attention.
At least for you, because you know you're the number one target for the laughing mask. I don't think you confines of this tavern.
That's fair. Why don't I go half work then? That one was fine.
Okay, so the other half work you were before.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a intelligence check, please. With advantage.
I critted.
Awesome. You use that persona at the Aphrodite's fly trap. Just an FYI.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Mr. Yale, where in the city would we be most likely to find a mercenary trying to hire themselves out? I mean, where are work boards, or where would mercenaries find work?
The Purple Octopus is definitely my recommendation, but it's also 50-50 chance that you may be stuck on a crew of a pirate ship. The other place is indeed the fly trap. They do get people into their network by getting them work. You start small, then you start doing more, and the next thing you know, you're a member of the Cult of the Night Guard. And if you want to do something rough, then you go check with Slate and get into the fighting things.
Why don't I take on the female half elf persona then? I don't think I've used that in this town.
Okay.
I think I just used that at Greenwood.
The old half elf guy. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
The old man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's his name? Did you name him?
I don't think I ever named him.
Okay. I don't know if you want to give your comrades a name to that.
I don't know. What's a good elf name? I have nothing right now.
Okay. Okay. So you guys are gonna go. Is that where you guys are gonna go? The listing?
Sounds like a good place to start, I guess.
Okay.
So, asking for work and then looking for this bishop being.
All right. So the party will split up. This has been a 3-hour session. We still have followers going on. So we had our little first encounter. And again, the investigation continues at Fang's Port. We will pick up again next week. Same time, same bat channel, or I should say, yeah, same bat channel since we have a little bit of a Joker guy going on. And, we'll continue what's going on with the investigation. Thank you again, everybody.
It was a great fight, guys.
All right, thanks.
We just got to remember, if something smells fishy, bring us all.
Thank you all for watching.